Russia already broke the fucking peace agreement. There was already a peace agreement in place. They had broken it multiple fucking times.
So did Ukraine. So did Ukraine.
Why are you guys placating to dictators?
Oh my God, we're not, dude. Here's the thing.
Again,
bro. The United States has caused more wars than Russia ever did. Alex, what are you talking about? Every time we're funding millions of deaths right now, Alex. We're funding millions of deaths, and you're saying whatever. Who cares?
But we also fund millions of good projects that save people's lives. But guess who cut that shit off? Elon fucking Musk, with no proof whatsoever.
Okay, so you're gonna pivot to something else?
You're simply saying, oh, bad USA. We are all fucked up in the head. We're in the worst.
I didn't say anything about that. No, I love the United States. The United States is the best country in the world, bro. I've stated this on several times.
We fucked everything up, do we? True. But there are people in this country that worship Donald Trump. They worship the ground he walks on. There are people that have been to like 47 of his rallies, and they openly admit how much they love him. They openly admit that they would vote for him no matter what wrongs he could have done.
No lies
That
detected.
To me is frightening to think about. And now you got
it's
Donald
so terrifying,
Trump
Alex.
if he was to be reelected, he would be dictator.
It's so terrifying, Alex.
It's a cult, dude. MAGA is a cult. There's no denying it, man. Like people would literally vote for Donald Trump no matter what he does. Like that.
Okay, so let me ask you this. You this. Is there a somewhat similar perspective that's on the left that people will vote? There's literally a saying called "vote blue no matter who."
Yeah.
Does that not sound like a cult to you?
No, of course not.
No. Okay. Tell me the difference between people that say I'm going to vote for Donald Trump regardless because the Democrats are crazy or whatever the reason is, compared to people that vote blue no matter who.
Okay, this is very, very easy actually, because when we actually have people on the Democratic side that do like bad things, we tend to get them out of our party. Like we did it to Al Franken, we did it to Anthony Weiner, we did it to like a variety of different people, and they don't actually meet the criteria to actually become president of the United States. We actually vote them out of office, especially like some Democrats that people are not exactly happy with. Like once it comes down to it, like, and people say, well, wait a second, what if Hitler was voting Democrat? Well, first off, Hitler's dead, so it's completely irrelevant, let alone the fact that Nazis are not progressive, so it's not going to happen. But the thing is, everybody knows that Donald Trump is a 34 count felon. They know that he is a liable sexual abuser. They know he's committed fraud. They know that he's actually committed multiple war crimes.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that? Where the fuck you been, Jake?
I've been right here on Earth.
You mean to tell me he's not a 34 count felon?
Well, he was convicted of a kangaroo court. If that's what you mean?
Oh, it's a kangaroo court. So if it's against Donald Trump, it's a kangaroo court. But if it's on his side, it's a legitimate court, right? Is that what you're
When did
me?
I ever say that? When did I ever say that?
No, that's what you're getting to, though.
No, I'm not getting to that at all. You didn't even let me finish. You're spurging out. Chill out, bro. Chill out.
No, I'm fine.
Chill. Calm down.
Dude,
we don't want your wife coming in here saying, "Stop yelling. Stop yelling. Stop yelling." All right.
It's cool. I mean,
breathe.
Dude, I got a direct glass of wine. I'm very chill. What are you talking about?
Okay, Alex. But let's so go on with what you're saying. So there's people that worship Trump. I guess I'm one of them, right? I worship Trump.
Do you?
No, I don't think I do, but maybe I do. Now I do have a cross in the living room that I took Jesus off of, and then I put Donald Trump on there. Is that considered worshiping him? I don't know.
Do you pray to him?
No, I don't pray to him.
Okay, then it's not worship. It's not the same thing.
Oh, okay. So if I did pray to Trump, then it would be worship?
Yes, it would.
Okay.
It definitely would. Okay.
So then do you know anybody personally that literally took the cross, Jesus off of their cross, put Trump and prayed to Trump? Do you know anybody?
No, not in my friend circle.
Okay. Can you put out a video, like any video out there of people on their knees praying to Donald Trump?
Oh, hell yeah, I can. Give me a second.
Let's do that. Let's do that. And this is real, right? This is not people trolling. This is not people trolling.
No, it's definitely not people trolling.
So
look at that.
Supporters pray out. They're praying, bro.
But praying to who?
You tell me. They're probably praying to Jesus Christ. They're praying to Jesus Christ,
Trump, dude.
How are they praying to Trump?
Co-parter, my friend. I just
hold on, Alex. Hold on.
God, they were
stop spurging out, bro. Stop spurging out, bro.
So Alex,
they were praying to God, hoping for Donald Trump to win. That's all they were doing. They were not praying to Donald Trump. They were praying to God.
Co-parter, my friend. Co-parter.
Wait, hold on. But Alex, do you understand the difference between praying to God and praying to Trump? with a MAGA hat on?
Where they were
so for example, if I wore a MAGA hat and I was praying to Jesus, does that mean I'm now praying to Trump? Is that where you're trying to
say that? They're literally praying.
Well, that's
to
why
Donald Trump.
they're not literally praying to Donald Trump. They're praying, dude, and they're not even like this, bro. Like they're just like that, like holding their heads down. There's no context there.
Another thing. Even then,
Alex.
There was a guy in England that when it was praying in front of the abortion clinic, praying to God for for the babies that were being aborted, like that.
Right.
Say that he's praying towards like Planned Parenthood or something like that's, and what they're doing there. They're just praying in front of the election office, but they were praying to God, hoping that that God will bless them.
People praying to Trump.
Praying to Trump or praying for Trump? That's
hold on a second.
Two different things too. Because he's probably gonna fucking interact it with that, but okay. Yeah, they make statues of politicians all the time. So what?
What?
Yeah, there's a statue of George Washington in the United States. Thomas Jefferson. They could be whatever color they want. Yeah, they start off gold too. There's plenty of them.
Lincoln.
Abraham Lincoln? How is this worship? Or do we worship George Washington?
I don't worship George. Too? Do you worship those guys?
Well, do they? They have statues here in the United States.
This is different, though.
How is it different?
How is it? What do you mean? How's it different? Okay, what's the significance?
Because it's golden. That's why it's different.
Dude, you're a fucking Christian. You don't see the significance between the golden statue.
Yeah, the golden ox. Yeah, I understand that, but that has nothing. Yeah, that has nothing to do with anything here.
Jake, my friend, I'm sorry,
bro. You're literally just showing a picture, and you're trying to invent a context of it without showing me any context.
Denial is not a river in Egypt.
It's not denial, Alex. You need to present. Alex. When you're presenting information on a claim that people are praying to Donald Trump, you have to give me significant evidence. You showed none of that right now. You showed a photo of a golden statue of Trump. There's plenty of statues of everything out there. Okay, you presented people praying to God outside of whatever that building it was, and then you're saying they're praying to Donald Trump. That's not proof at all.
Okay.
So again, can you show me anything, Alex? Anything?
Well, I could, sure, but I didn't realize this would be, fact checked when I'm actually proving myself correct.
Okay, you're not proving anything, bro. You're literally not proving nothing.
Okay. Okay, brother. Anyway, let's continue on with something else.
Not with that. That wasn't enough evidence for that.
Nope. Okay, fine. Agree to disagree then. Agree to disagree, because I seem to recall one time where I actually posted a claim and then Jake never actually confirmed. Yeah, this is accurate, so it's cool. So
really quick,
go ahead.
I want to share this to you guys here.
Yep.
So check out all these statues right here. Look, we even have a golden statue of Joe Biden right here.
Oh, that's not even real statue.
We have plenty of these.
Those are
things.
Clearly AI images.
Oh, they're AI images. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
But
so
yeah,
anyway,
hold on. But hold on. Here's a bus right here. Look again, Alex. There's plenty of statues of every president here. Okay. So let me ask you this: Are we now worshiping Joe Biden? Are we now worshiping any of these people?
We're not worshiping Joe Biden. No, of course not. If you could show me.
Okay, then how are they worshiping? Hold on, how are they worshiping Donald Trump then?
Can you show me people worshing Joe Biden?
I can't because they're not. Because they're not doing it. Yeah, they're not doing it for Trump either. They're not doing it for Trump either. How? You didn't present any evidence.
Dude,
you did not present any evidence, bro.
Just take the L, brother. Anyway, let's move on to a different.
Okay, all right, keep coping, bro. So we'll move on. You moved on. Okay, you didn't make a claim with no evidence. Cool. Right. So we'll move on here.
So go ahead.
It's not agree to disagree. You didn't fucking present anything.
I did, but okay, go ahead. And now you got Donald Trump saying that if he was to be reelected, he would be dictator for one day. Now, there are people out there that think he's just being hyperbolic. I don't think he is being hyperbolic.
He's literal. He's being literal.
That he is going to be your retribution. He said in a rally, "I will be your retribution."
Good.
In any other point in history, if anybody ever heard something like that from a leader, we would all be terrified. But for some reason, Donald Trump just seems to get a pass on these things. I mean, what I mean by a pass, I mean by a pass by the very people that believe in a limited government. They believe that the government is not the answer to all of our problems. They think that government is the problem. But yet, when Donald Trump says these things, they are over the moon about these things. They absolutely love the fact that he says these things. That is scary to me because this is where authoritarianism really comes into full swing. When people say that they are the answer to all of our problems,
the whole video, about 6 minutes and 25 seconds of it. But Alex, really quick. So you stated that if Trump gets elected, he's going to be dictator for a day. Again, did that happen?
It's happening right now.
It's happening. Oh, so he chose today to be dictator for a day?
No, he's not. It's not over for one day. We all knew that it wasn't going to be.
But no, you said dictator for a day. You took him literal.
That's what he said. No, he said dictator for a day, but we know it's not dictator for a day.
Oh, okay. So you actually say that he was being hyperbolic then?
No, I'm simply saying that he's full of shit because here's the thing.
Oh, he's full of shit because he wasn't dictator. He's not a dictator.
Oh, so he's not kicking out members of the press. He's not silencing people in the media. He is not.
Wait, hold on. Kicking out members of the press, meaning that other people that can come in and ask questions because they don't have enough room?
No, because kicking people out because they won't say Gulf of America. That's really fucking awesome. Also trying to silence his critics. Also trying to make sure that, and also trying to arrest people that are American citizens, shipping them out to other countries into other prison populations. They're sending out people like that's not a dictatorship whatsoever.
So illegal immigrants are now American citizens because you said so?
I didn't say illegal immigrants. I said American citizens are being detained right now in our own country. Yeah.
Okay, who? Name them.
Oh, holy shit. Hold on.
No, just name them, bro. Name them.
Okay.
No. But even then, like, you mentioned something about, like, okay, that he's kicking out people from the press. I mean, just because they don't say Gulf of America, like, first of all, like, why give the same news outlet that's been doing this for the last, like, what, 8-9 years, that's been going on, making false fake news?
Like
basically.
What? Like what fake news? Like what?
Like, dude, we see all the fake news that they have been doing against Donald Trump.
Like what?
For the longest time, like even what you mentioned earlier about, like, hey, those
like when the media said that if Trump is elected that there was going to be a bloodbath, and that he's threatening bloodbath. Hold on. When you look at the full context, I
agree.
Okay, great. I'll give you another example. When he said that there was fine people on both sides, right? You remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
Okay, what was the narrative?
He said fine people on both sides, but then he denounces white supremacy.
No, that wasn't the narrative.
No, the narrative.
What was the mainstream narrative? What was the fake news narrative?
He said there was fine people on both sides. So if you're
what was the narrative of the mainstream media? What did they say? He
said that there was fine people on both sides.
No, what did the media say about it?
I'm trying to answer the question, but you won't let me answer. God damn it, Jake. This is
answer the question, bro.
I'm trying to. Okay, I'm trying to. Anyway, they were trying to insinuate that he said that white supremacists were the fine people that he was talking about. That was the narrative. So it's okay. So is that correct?
Okay? So that's two fake news stories, right?
That's two examples.
So obviously OJ was saying there was a bunch of fake news. You said, where was it? I named you two. And you agreed to it. So there was fake news.
Let's talk about Donald Trump's lies. Let's talk about all of Donald Trump's lies.
But again, OJ was saying the fake news narrative was there, and you agree that it's there. And now you're saying what's Donald Trump's lies? Okay, what was it? That grocery prices were going to go down day one. Is that what you're going to say? And that was a lie? Is that
is a lie? That is a lie.
Okay. He said we're going to start. Look, he said that we're going to work on day one for the people.
And he's doing a shit
and
job.
that we're going to lower down the grocery prices. Okay. Right. Now this doesn't happen.
Egg down to 50
and it doesn't. It doesn't happen overnight, bro. It doesn't happen overnight. Not only that, the statistics. Well, look at this. The statistics that they came out with, the eggs example that OJ just said. The egg statistics came out on January 15th. They were at an all-time high in prices. When Trump took office on the 20th, the narrative now from the fake news media that you claim is nothing, right? That they don't lie, apparently. Their narrative was, look, prices are at eggs are at an all-time high now, right? Yeah. When in reality, that was under Joe Biden, Alex. And now we look 2 months later, now we have new. Hold on. Now that we have 2 months later, statistics are now out. It's down.
Do you know why? Okay. No. Stop.
Well, hold on. Isn't that all true though? That's all true, right, Alex?
Why did that happen? Why did the eggs prices go up?
Because they burn the eggs.
Because okay, I'll tell you. Are you asking me, or are you going to ask?
No, I already know the answer. I
know the answer too.
Okay, let's hear it.
All right. So there was multiple things on grocery prices as a whole. Okay, we know this. Now, people say the bird flu, right? Oh, the bird flu made it high. It's one component. Another component is that Joe Biden and his administration was killing a lot of the bird flus, the chickens that were laying these eggs in these factories. Okay, yes. That's another thing. It was about I think the last time I heard, it was over 100,000 chickens that were being killed by the Biden administration. I think now it's in the millions, actually. That's two components right there. Third component was the inflation. Fourth component was Joe Biden donating, giving away our taxpayer dollars to fund 2 proxy wars that raised up everything from a high scale. So yes, the eggs and groceries.
Another factor was also the oil.
Yeah. So all these factors played in for the groceries to go high, Alex.
You do realize that we're... Yeah, okay. Let me answer all that stuff, okay? So first things first. Yes, there was a bird flu epidemic. Yes, they were killing chickens. That is standard procedure at any time, because the reason why is if you don't kill all the chickens right now, it's going to spread, which means less chickens you're going to have. So yes, the price of eggs is definitely going to go up.
He was killing chickens that didn't have bird flu. He was killing chickens that didn't have the bird flu, bro.
Dude, it was spreading to all locations.
No, it wasn't. No. He was killing out, dude, he was killing out factories that had no bird flu in those factories, Alex. Are you kidding me, dude?
Anyway, as I was saying,
all right, we can move on with the video now.
No. As I was saying, though, the price of oil. Okay, the president does not control the price of oil, and under Joe Biden, we were drilling and producing oil more than at any point in history.
He stopped the pipeline. He stopped.
No, okay, stop. Were we or were we not drilling and producing oil at a record more than any point in history?
Yeah, like almost towards the end of his presidency.
No, well before the.
Yeah, it was.
No, it was well before the end of the presidency. Well,
no, he stopped that. He stopped the pipeline.
Bro, it was like the last year, bro. And it took till the end.
And he gave up. And he gave all of our reserves as well.
He did not give up all of our reserves. He did not.
Hold on, really quick. Did we get a raid or something like that, man? We got quite a
Mrs. Die, smash that like button, fuckers.
Yeah. So, what were you saying, OJ?
No, but also like another thing, going back to the main thing before we got into all these different topics here. Was the fact that him kicking out them kicking out the press out of the press secretary deal, so the press conference, so taking them out and saying that, hey, you know what, we're now going to give it to independent people, who have YouTube channels, stuff like that.
Hold on, really quick before we move on. Shout out to Fatty for the fucking raid. Thank you so much, Fatty, bro. Appreciate you, man. No wonder I was like, this shit's spiking up pretty quickly. Had to have gotten the raid. Appreciate you, Fatty. Okay, OJ, go ahead.
So anyway, what I was saying is that they now want to give everybody a chance to go and report the news. Not just giving CNN, NBC, all these other news outlets that everybody's used to. That we caught them all on lies, and not only that, it's Operation Mockingbird. That they're always saying the same shit over and over again, no matter what, and they're all the same. Doesn't matter which channel you decide to tune into, they're gonna say the same thing. So that's Operation Mockingbird for you. But at the end of the day, it's like, hey, you know what? Let's give other people a chance to go ahead and talk to the press secretary. There's not a reason why we need to keep the major people when they're not even reporting the news accurately, anyways. So I agree with the fact that, hey, remove them and find somebody who will report the news accurately.
All right. So
who's reporting the news accurate right now in your opinion? Who reports the news accurately in your opinion?
Honestly, I think a lot of independent YouTubers.
Like who?
Like I think Steven Crowder. I think Mark Dice. There's Dr. Trolley as well.
I don't know who that is.
Dr. Steven Trolley.
I don't know who that is.
Alex.
There's a lot of the Tim Pool as well. There's a lot of other...
the guy that was taking Russian money.
That he didn't know about?
Yeah. He
didn't know about it. But really quick, Alex, that's a good question that you ask here.
Yeah.
The premise of this is, where do you get your news from, right? And in my perspective here, I do get the news from alternative media. I get the news from mainstream media. In fact, I watch more CNN probably than you, Alex. I watch more MSNBC than you, bro. And these are all liberal outlets, right? So yeah, I watch it all across the board, my friend. So I understand where the Democrats are talking about, what their talking points are, and I understand where the right wing is. In fact, I don't even agree on everything that Trump has done. I'm not saying he's perfect or anything like that. I think he's doing better now than he did in his first term, and I've criticized his first term on multiple occasions, right? And this is just barely 2 months into his administration. So again, I'm looking at it from the perspective of, hey, I'm trying to be as non-biased as possible, okay? But Yeah, you got to try to do that because at the end of the day, Alex, you can even admit you're biased, correct?
Oh yeah, I'm not gonna lie about that.
Yeah,
I'm
of course. For sure.
I'm not gonna lie whatsoever.
So I think we're biases, right? I'm a Christian, Alex is an atheist, so that right there is already biases.
Religious skeptic.
You're an atheist, bro. Shut up.
Religious skeptic.
You're a fucking atheist, bro. Okay, you're biased. You're biased along those lines.
He hasn't found his way yet.
Yeah, but you see my point there. You see my point there, Alex. Like for example, when we had Trump rallies, right? Do you remember when MAGA supporters were saying CNN sucks? CNN sucks. You remember those chants? Oh
yeah, of course.
That are happening. Okay. So they didn't say like MSNBC sucks. However, I wouldn't doubt that it broke out at one point. But the CNN ones really went viral, right? Now, there's a big reason why CNN was specifically targeted amongst Trump supporters such as myself and OJ. A big reason why for that was because CNN was saying, we are non-biased news. That's how CNN always has promoted themselves. We're non-biased. Don Lemon has said this several times. These hosts are saying, we're down the middle and we are fair. And that's how they promote themselves, right? Now, the difference between CNN and like, let's say Fox News is Fox News says, yes, we're Republicans. We aren't, we're not down the middle. MSNBC, they're progressive. They even admit we're not down the middle. They have that type of biases. CNN, on the other hand, promotes themselves as a non-biased network. And this is why when they're coming out with the most fucking obscure stories and trying to spin the narrative, this is why I think Trump supporters were a lot more frustrated with CNN than any other news outlet. Could you see my point there on why those chants were kind of being talked about there?
Oh, sure. Of course. I mean, I'm sure people could definitely say, oh, CNN sucks. But, the more you say something, the more people are going to say it, basically. You could, if you have enough charisma out there, and if you could have anybody out there, like, for example, what's Bernie's biggest, rally right now? Tax the rich, fight the oligarchy. It's catching, fire because everybody recognizes the oligarchy is a problem. It's just like with Trump. The fake news media, CNN, left-wing media, they are all a problem. Bernie Sanders is doing the same thing, talking about the oligarchs. I actually went to a Bernie Sanders rally in Warren, Michigan. That was fucking amazing. It was awesome.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough. So we can agree that there are biases within that. So let me ask you this. Where do you, Alex, get your news from?
I usually watch Kyle Kulinski Secular Talk. I usually watch Brian Tyler Cohen. I usually watch Mehdi Hasan. I like Mehdi Hasan because he is not afraid of holding Democrats accountable, which I appreciate. He's probably one of my favorite journalists out there. I think he should moderate the next presidential debates because he doesn't take shit from anybody. But I don't really watch much MSNBC, CNN, Fox News. I don't really trust mainstream media because I feel it kind of like what you said. It's like a never-ending news cycle. They don't focus on the really important issues, I feel. Like they will focus nonstop about for example, they'll talk about really stupid things like Meghan and Harry. They'll talk about Meghan and Harry all over again. They'll talk about that for 2 weeks straight. And I fucking hate that. There are bigger issues now in this country.
Was Meghan and Harry, were they the ones that were saying Trump is Hitler and then they wanted to get invited to the White House or something like that? I remember hearing that story.
I don't know.
You don't know? Oh, yeah, I think it was them. And we see a lot of those types of hypocrites within the mainstream media. However, you have to acknowledge that the mainstream media had wide influence for years, bro. People trusted these people by far, especially when Trump went into office. Everybody took their fucking word for as gospel. And thus now we had people believing Trump was Hitler for 8 years, for 12 years, etc. That could have, at this point, led to an assassination attempt against his life, right? We have to acknowledge, Alex, that plays a huge role on how people perceive things.
So what do you think should happen to people that call Trump Hitler?
What do I think should happen to them?
Yeah. I mean, do you think they should be denounced? We
should tell them that they're wrong and we should debate it.
Tell JD Vance then.
Okay, yeah, and I have.
Really?
Yeah, and JD, yeah. We dude. In fact,
I'm a never Trump guy. I'm a never Trump guy. He said he was.
Yeah, I know that. And I'll explain it to you, Alex. Okay. In fact, we spoke about this when he first picked JD Vance. Yes. I said this is a stupid pick. I don't like that he was a never Trumper. Yes, I get it. That was 10 years ago or so. He could have changed his mind. I get people change their minds all the time, etc. And what won me over with JD specifically was that JD was a very, very talented debater. He was able to get his points across very vividly so that people like me could say, okay, we'll give you a chance on that, right? But this was something that a lot of people, even my audience, we spoke about this on multiple occasions, that I didn't like JD Vance. There was other people that did, and we debated it. OJ, I don't remember if you liked him or not.
I didn't really know him that much, but
but when we started getting,
I was rooting for Vivek, but at the time.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, Alex, like here we already had this conversation. I didn't like JD. He's won me over at this point, so I'm like willing to forgive it. But however, at this point, JD needs to be on point, right? So we'll see it from there. But that's my take there. JD has even denounced that already as well. He said, yeah, I was wrong. I was believing the fake news media, just like everybody else at the time, And I get it. A lot of people thought he was Hitler, like literally. And even polls show people that voted for Joe Biden or people that were liberal, that were Democrats, realize, you know what? Yeah, I don't think Trump is Hitler. I don't believe he's literally Hitler. Like, it's a narrative that's already dying down fucking 10 years later.
So how do you feel about JD Vance basically saying nothing's off the table? Him and Donald Trump saying nothing's off the table as far as acquiring Greenland. Are you okay with that?
Acquiring, like, nothing's off the table acquiring Greenland? Yeah, I mean, that's fine.
Even
there's resources. Yeah, there's resources in Greenland that can definitely help us.
Even military action. Even military action.
Hold on. Okay. When he says nothing's off the table, are you looking at that as, oh, we're going to go to war with Greenland if they don't?
Yeah, that's
is that what you're saying? Okay. So good. Thank you for giving me the clarity here. Yeah. That was never stated by JD Vance at all. Now, if he does state, hey, if you don't fucking give us what we want, we're going to go and invade you like through force, I would be against that, of course. But that's not what's being said, Alex. In fact, you're anti-war, right?
Huh? Yeah.
You're anti-war?
Well, okay. I'll put it this way, okay?
Wait, hold on, Alex, are you anti-war?
War is the last resort. That's why I look
at it. Okay, great. So you would say you're anti-war overall, and war is the last resort. I can agree with you on that.
Yeah,
cool.
Sure.
So then you were against the Biden administration funding the war over there in Ukraine then?
In Ukraine, no. I was okay with that.
But I thought you were anti-war, bro. That doesn't make sense to me.
Well, hold on. There's a reason for that, though.
Well, wait, hold on. Is that a last resort? We need to fund.
We're not in that war, though. We're not in war, though.
We're funding it.
So?
Okay, so the thing is,
we're funding
the reason why that's a big deal. So let me explain to you why that's a big deal, Alex, because obviously you don't understand why that's a big deal. So I can explain to you.
Whoa, stop. You're really going to try to explain to me why this is a big deal?
Yeah, well, you said so what? So let me explain it.
Okay, why it's a big... I'll go next. You go first, and I'll go next.
Okay, great. So when you talk about, so what? Joe Biden's funding a war where millions and millions of people are dying. So what, Jake? Who cares? It's a last resort somehow. Okay, so here's the problem with that, Alex. When the United States funds these proxy wars, that affects us as here in the United States, right? You would agree with that. Prices go up, etc. And the ones that are getting this money, Zelensky, who's gotten billions, nearly billions of dollars?
About like 350.
350, something like that, something crazy. A lot of that money went missing, bro. A lot of that money's not even funding the war completely. That's one. So we're not even navigating where that money's exactly going. That's a problem. Two, when it comes to Zelensky, he wants this war. He's a warmonger himself. And this is the opinion of a lot of other individuals here. That Zelensky has this idea because Zelensky seems like he doesn't even want a ceasefire. Okay? Now, at the end of the day, the reason why this is a huge deal is because it affects us. Okay? It affects us drastically. And we're putting our noses in a war that frankly isn't really any of our business. We could just say, hey, Russia, start a deal where we're not going to allow Ukraine into NATO. And that's that, right? It's been poking at the bear for years now at this point. So you're saying you support that, right? You support the war, millions of people dying. Why is that?
Okay, so first things first, let me help you out real quick. Okay, millions and millions of people are not dying. As of now, there are about 158,000 civilian casualties, 900,000 Russian forces killed and whatnot. Okay, so
900,000? 900? Okay, sorry.
That's not millions
Jake, it's only 1.2 million, not Jake, millions.
It's okay, boy. It's okay,
not a whole bunch of millions, Jake. It's only 1.5 million. Sorry, Jake, Alex, sorry.
Jake, I got to educate you real quick,
It's
buddy.
fine, it's fine. Okay, it's only 1.5 million. Yeah, Alex, if it was, let's say if it was 3 million, then would you not support it?
Jake, you got to let me finish, dude. You got to let me explain the whole fucking paradox here because you gave a really, really bad assessment of this whole situation. So let me help you out here, okay? Who invaded? Who's the aggressor here, Russia or Ukraine?
Russia invaded Ukraine.
Exactly.
Russia and that's a bad thing.
It is a very bad thing, essentially.
It's a very bad thing.
Why is it that Donald? Okay, so why is it Donald Trump is making Zelensky, give up terms? Why is he making Zelensky be the one to give up half the mineral deposits for the rest of their lives? Why is it he's not going after Russia? Why is it when Donald Trump was asked about who should win the war, he says, "Oh, I just want it to be over with," like a fucking coward, basically. No, it's a shitty assessment. No,
we should. No, yeah, that's a good thing.
No, it's not a good thing.
He just wants it to be over. No, we want the war to be over. That's a good thing.
If Trump would have said that he wanted Ukraine to win, then that is literally saying that, hey, we're going to war with Russia now.
No, it's not.
Oh, he cannot say that.
Because
he cannot say that.
No,
and he cannot say that he wants Russia to win, because then now he's gonna have NATO.
Okay, Kamala Harris was still vice president. She said she wanted Ukraine to win. Did we go to war with Russia? No, we did not.
Well, the thing is, during that, again, it was an election year, right? Putin is a strategist. He's a statistic about things. He's a spy. So, yeah, I get you, dude. He's a bad guy. Trust me. Putin's a bad guy. Okay, we can all agree on that.
No, we can all think so.
Trump does. No, Trump does. He's gonna put the tariffs on even Russia, bro. It's all across the board, even with that. But however, hold on, bro, hold on. Let me go one point at a time, please. Okay, one point at a time.
Okay, go ahead. I wasn't done, but go ahead.
Okay, well, finish your thought here, and then we'll resolve that.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Go ahead. I'll get to it.
Trump saying, "Hey, I just want people to stop dying. We need to get a deal going, and we need to stop this now." Now, going back to your next point is, well, why did he give Putin the better end of the deal? Well, at the end of the day, Putin's going to win this war no matter what. The only way the Ukraine's going to win is if America actually gets involved and we sacrifice our own troops to win this war. That's not going to happen. So Trump knows the real winner will be Russia. It's just going to happen. And when it comes to making deals, the one that has the hand up usually gets the better deal of things. That's how business works. And Zelensky has to take in consideration that half of his male population is gone. And him prolonging this is just going to make Ukraine worse and worse. So we need to get the deal done. All right. I think it's a very logical conclusion to think this way. And him saying, I'm not going to pick a side. I just want it done. Instead of you Democrats and these other Republicans, because there are Republicans that did this too, supporting this war.
Yeah, Lindsay.
Okay, so let me get this straight. So your logic is, which is really, once again, really faulty, is that, don't take sides in this war. Don't take sides in this conflict. I just want peace, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Sure.
But we're still funding the genocide in Gaza, right? That's perfectly acceptable.
Yeah. Okay. So me and you actually we spoke about this already, right?
We did?
The genocide in Gaza, like when we first met, when Biden was in office. So Biden was also funding the Gaza war.
Yeah. And I disagree with him on that.
Great. And I disagree with Trump funding that war as well.
Yeah.
Right. So, and I have my problems with Trump, bro. I can actually criticize the man that I don't like the fact that he's a bit of a puppet, that I would say puppet for the Jewish state.
He's a warmonger.
He's not a warmonger. The biggest warmonger?
Oh, definitely.
Who? Absolutely. Trump or Netanyahu?
Well, Netanyahu's definitely a warmonger, but definitely Trump.
Oh, Trump is the biggest one.
Well, yeah, as of right now, yes.
Oh, as of right now. Okay, yeah. Alex. Okay, so who's a bigger warmonger? Hold on, who's a bigger warmonger, Joe Biden or Donald Trump?
Oh, Donald Trump, without a doubt.
Okay, Alex. All right.
Definitely.
So, anyways, let's move on with the point here.
If that's the case, what war has Trump started?
Joe Biden didn't start any wars either.
No, it's just a question. What wars has Trump started?
You don't need to start wars.
Oh, you don't need to start wars in order to be the biggest warmonger ever? No. Well, hold on. Who was a bigger warmonger, Joseph Stalin or Donald Trump? Hitler or Donald Trump? Who's the bigger warmonger?
Hitler, of course. Definitely Hitler.
Okay. So you're not saying that Trump is actually like at this point in time how you feel Trump is the biggest warmonger ever.
Oh, correct. I mean,
okay. All right. Just to be clear.
What makes you lead into Trump being the biggest warmonger, or even just a warmonger in general?
Well, because the fact that, we continue to fund a genocide that was going on in Yemen as well. Joe Biden actually put a stop to that, essentially. Do you think somebody that's like anti-war would cover up drone strikes when you actually increase them by 400%? Is that
I get about increasing defense. There's nothing wrong with that.
Wait, what? Covering up drone strikes?
Covering up drone strikes?
Yes.
I know he sent one to go kill.
Wait, if they were covered up, how do you know about it, Alex?
Because Joe Biden released them. He actually disclosed how many drone strikes actually increased under Donald Trump, actually.
How many drones? Okay, that Joe Biden said that there was drone strikes under Donald Trump, right?
Yeah.
Did he start a war with Yemen?
No, of course not. We just funded the
No, of course not. Okay, so you're not actually no, it's not funding anything. So Donald Trump didn't actually fund or start any wars.
Yeah, neither did Joe Biden.
Joe Biden funded the Ukraine and the Gaza one. What are you talking about?
That's not him starting a war though.
No, I'm saying funding though. He funded it, right? Okay, all right, great.
So he's continuing the war.
The what?
So he's continuing the war then, right? So he didn't start it, but he's helping. He's helping the war.
Yeah, because Ukraine got fucking invaded. I mean, they were the ones that were invaded upon. Now, here's the reason as to why it was necessary for us to back Ukraine, okay? Because had we done nothing, what do you think might would have happened? Do you think more lives would have been saved? Do you think that Russia actually would have just they wouldn't have. You're completely delusional if you think that would have happened. Because first things first, you have to understand something. Russia was going to invade. It was going to be just like their version of Afghanistan 2.0 all over again. More people were probably going to die. There was going to be an insurgency going on there. And if we had done nothing, what kind of a message do you think that would send to the rest of the world? The United States did nothing. When Ukraine actually backed us when we went to war in Iraq, they actually sent troops to support us. So if we didn't go to support them, what kind of a message would that send for them? If we didn't even send any like real combat units to deploy, we had people that were advisors to help them like in Poland and stuff like that. But that's about as far as it went though. And the reason why this is really important is because had we done nothing against Russia, Russia would have said, okay, we can pretty much do whatever the fuck we want to. It would have sent a message that the United States is not going to back its ally. The conservative media would have called Joe Biden insanely weak. Look at it. He's getting pushed around by Vladimir Putin, but because he was helping it.
But instead you're saying it. Yeah. But instead you're saying it. Okay.
The thing is though, is that like, because he was doing it, then they were trying to suggest that there was like some sort of underlying.
Yeah, but that's the narrative of the Democrats right now, that Trump is weak because he doesn't want, like what you're saying, he's not picking sides. That's the narrative of the left right now, that you're saying Republicans would have done the same thing to Biden, right?
No, they definitely would have crucified Joe Biden if he hadn't done.
Well, just like they're crucifying Trump for not taking sides.
No, they definitely you're missing.
Yes, they have.
Who is?
The Democratic Party, bro. They literally said those same words, that Donald Trump is weak because he wants to support Russia and end the war, and that we need to win it, and that he's weak.
That's blatantly obvious.
Okay, well, that's my point there, bro. Is that the narrative that you're saying that the Republicans would have done to the Democrats is exactly what the Democrats are doing right now to the Republicans.
So you agree?
The difference is that your what if scenario never happened, Alex. So my point is here. Look, when I say we shouldn't have gotten involved in this war, what I'm saying here is, when it comes to the war in Ukraine and Russia, Vladimir Putin, okay, you got to realize that Ukraine and Russia are similar to like the United States and Canada. They're neighboring countries. Very, very much similar. They speak the same languages, etc. Pretty sure they have families left and right within those two border areas, right? So it's not like it's not like it's Gaza and Israel, right? Where it's like fucking long-term conflicts. So the thing is that Putin didn't really want to invade Ukraine to where he wanted to take it all over. He didn't want to take it all over and just say, fuck it, XYZ, right? He started with one area and that was it. He said, you guys don't be in NATO and that's it. And we can end this war, etc. Zelensky continued that war and it escalated. Okay. I don't think Putin, if the United States would have not have gotten involved, this war would have ended quickly to where Putin would have won. Zelensky would have been out. They would have got a new president and they would have negotiated amongst themselves in order to keep peace within those two regions. Okay.
A Russian puppet. That's exactly what we would have put in.
The what?
He would have put in a Russian puppet.
Well, again, millions of people wouldn't have died. It would have saved lives and we wouldn't have gotten involved. And thus now we have people that can't make ends meet with this inflation that's happening over here in the United States, Alex. Okay. So again, without our involvement, this war would have ended quickly. Within 2 weeks, 3 weeks, this war would have fucking ended. And we wouldn't be having this debate right now.
No, it wouldn't have
and millions of people, and dude, half of their male population wouldn't be dead right now, Alex, if we wouldn't have gotten involved. Every time the United States gets involved in these fucking wars, more death happens, Alex. Have you not seen history here? So for you saying it's a great thing that the United States gets involved is ridiculous, because we see this throughout history, is that every time we poke our fucking noses where it doesn't belong, people fucking die, and it makes the scenario even worse, Alex.
So we shouldn't have gotten involved in World War II. We shouldn't have
gotten involved. Dude, we shouldn't have gotten involved in World War I. If we wouldn't have gotten involved in World War I, there probably wouldn't even be a World War II, Alex. Like, seriously.
How can you say that?
This happens frequently, where the United States makes shit worse, Alex, and you agree with me, correct? Do you agree that when the United States puts their stupid noses into fucking shit that they don't belong, shit gets worse? For the most part, correct? Remember, dude, the Iraqi war, millions of people died because of what? Weapons of mass destruction? Mm-hmm. That was a useless war. What are you talking about, dude?
I don't disagree.
Okay, great. So then, therefore, my point is, we shouldn't have gotten involved in the war in the fucking first place, Alex. I don't understand why you can't comprehend that, dude. Well, you want to take sides because the Democratic Party is wearing stupid little Ukraine flags. Like, how do you back that up, bro?
It's easy, because if a country gets fucking invaded when they were not the ones they were not the aggressors whatsoever, when they were the ones that got fucking invaded, you don't just sit back and just say absolutely do nothing. Especially when, like I said, they supported us in the war in Iraq. They supported us.
A war that we started, Alex.
See, this is Jake, brother. Listen, you gotta understand something, Jake. I love talking to you, man, but dude, I know you don't let people finish all the time, but you gotta let me fucking go through it, man. I mean, seriously.
It's because you haven't answered it. Dude, you haven't rebutted question.
I am rebuttaling. One thing, Kirsch. Why couldn't they make a peace deal in the very beginning before the invasion that, hey, that Ukraine just cannot join NATO, and they, hey, leave
because
it alone,
Russia broke
and nothing would have happened? Russia
already broke the fucking peace agreement. There was already a peace agreement in place. They had broken it multiple fucking times.
So did Ukraine.
Why are you guys placating to dictators?
Oh my God, we're not, dude. Here's the thing.
Again,
bro. The United States has caused more wars than Russia ever did. Alex, what are you talking about? Every time we're funding millions of deaths right now, Alex. We're funding millions of deaths, and you're saying whatever. Who cares?
But we also fund millions of good projects that save people's lives. But guess who cut that shit off? Elon fucking Musk, with no proof whatsoever.
Okay, so you're gonna pivot to something else?
You're simply saying, oh, bad USA. We are all fucked up in the head. We're the worst.
I didn't say anything about that. No, I love the United States. The United States is the best country in the world, bro. I've stated this on several times.
We fucked everything up, do we?
Every time we get our noses into fucking other people's business. Yes, that's throughout history. I can't deny it, Alex. Dude, I love the United States, but I can't deny that.
Where the fuck do you get your geopolitical talking points from, sir?
Where do I get them from?
Yes.
I don't know. I just fucking through history, bro. Through history in my own mind, Alex. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Where do you get them? Where do you get them from, Alex?
Oh, the Red Line podcast, Michael Hilliard. You should check that out. It's
all those biased podcasts that we talked about earlier. Great.
Have you ever listened to that podcast? How do you know it's biased?
Well, you said Kyle Kalinske. You said all the podcasts that you were listening to earlier. Where you get your news from, Alex? So it's bias. It's bias when you're only consuming that. This is why you're sitting there saying, I don't give a fuck about the millions of people dying. We need to take out Russia because they're the biggest boogeyman.
A million people dying. I'm simply
bro.
I simply said I support us fighting, helping support Ukraine, who is fighting against an oppressive regime like the
because they helped us out with Iraq, right?
Exactly.
They helped us out. Okay, great. Do you know who started that? Iraq. The United States went into Iraq because of fucking.
It was
nuclear fucking
weapon. That's all it was.
Yes, it was a wrong war, bro. And Ukraine backed up they backed up the bad guys. Like, let's just be honest at the time. So they didn't back up Iraq. I guess theoretically they should have, right, Alex?
No, they should have backed up. They backed us up because we suckered them into it, basically.
So now it's our fault. We suckered them into it. Alex, really quick, dude. My point is that we shouldn't have gotten involved in this war in the first place, bro. And look,
you can't be isolationist forever, brother. You can't be isolationist forever.
I'm not saying that.
Yes, look, you are, dude.
I understand that war is the last. Remember, Alex, you stated that war is the last resort, correct? You stated that earlier. Great. Yes. This was not a last resort situation, Alex. This was not a last resort situation. So
you already conceded that Russia invaded first. So why?
Yes, I don't care. I don't care.
I know you
don't care, dude. Because the thing is, that war would have been done in 2 weeks, bro. Ukraine wouldn't have had a shot in that. They would have had to have.
It's fine.
No. They would have had, bro. They would have had to fucking bend the knee, wave the white flag, and it would have been done in 2 weeks, bro. Instead,
maybe when we get it, the United States just bend the knee so less people die, right?
we've been into war, Alex. We're the powerhouse of the world, Alex.
If we get invaded, should we just bend the knee for more people?
No.
Why
we should kick their asses because we can. Because we can kick their ass.
Oh, so it's okay.
Because we can.
Ass, but we can't let Ukraine kick ass, right?
How? It's none of our business, Alex. It's none of our business. If they invade us, it's our business. Therefore, we get involved because it's our fucking business, Alex. With them, it's not our fucking business, Alex. And it led to way more deaths. It went to way more deaths than anything before, Alex.
Bro,
you're insane.
Dude, I'm not. I'm actually morally consistent, but it's okay, man.
Oh, morally consistent. Dude. You don't even believe that moral's objective. You believe moral's subjective, Alex.
Of course.
All right. Yeah, of course. So therefore, what makes your morality superior to mine if it's subjective, Alex?
Because you're willing to let more people die.
Who cares? It's my morals, Alex. So therefore, shut the fuck up about morals. Dude, you don't know shit about that.
I know plenty about morals. You're just mad because
don't,
I'm
Alex.
You're just mad because I'm correct.
Alex, morals are subjective. Remember, they're subjective. Therefore, what makes your morals superior to mine? Nothing. It's just your preference, bro. Shut up. Shut up about morals, bro. Really quick, OT, thank you for the $10, bro. I know OT. Actually, OT, he was in the chat when I was with T.O. I'm sorry. T.O. was in the chat when I was over there with Fatty, bro. He's a big supporter of Fatty, dude. Thanks for the $10, bro. Really appreciate that. I think T.O. was actually criticizing me on those Trump debates, actually. So I appreciate, man. I think, or maybe he was on my side. I don't remember. But appreciate the $10, man.